Software pioneer and wanted fugitive John Mcafee died by suicide in a Spanish prison cell on Wednesday after the country's high court authorized his extradition to the United States on charges of tax evasion and fraud. That's according to Mcafee's lawyer, who said the software mogul died by hanging and could not stand any more time in jail, adding, quote, "This is the result of a cruel system that had no reason to keep this man in jail for so long." Known for his eccentric behavior and bizarre videos, the 75-year-old entrepreneur who sold his Mcafee antivirus software company to Intel in 2011 had been indicted in Tennessee on tax evasion charges. He was also charged in a cryptocurrency fraud case in New York.
An airstrike in a busy marketplace killed 43 and wounded several people in Ethiopia's war-torn Tigray. Victims were rushed to the regional hospital in Mekelle, and most of them were women and children. The United Nations has now demanded a probe into the strike. Secretary General Guterres has raised concerns over the unabated violence in the region. Victims were rushed to the regional hospital of Mekelle, and most of whom were women and children. Medical officers from Mekelle Hospital said that dozens have been killed in the strike. Unconfirmed reports from eyewitnesses state that the death toll is well over 50. The bloodbath comes amid ongoing vote counting in the Ethiopia presidential elections. Reports of rebel movements in parts of the northern region prompted the airstrikes.
We'll make sure you can't sell death and mayhem on our streets.
U.S. President Joe Biden pledged on Wednesday to crack down on a crime spike across the country, targeting illegal gun dealers and boosting support for local law enforcement. The new measures will revoke gun licenses for dealers operating illegally, including those who fail to conduct required background checks. Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland also announced strengthened efforts to stop illegal gun trafficking across states and boost federal funding for community policing.
And the study we did showed that 90% of illegal guns were found at the crime scenes sold by 5% of gun dealers. 5% sold 90% of the guns found at crime scenes.
Massive search and rescue operation underway at this hour after the partial collapse of a high-rise condominium building in Surfside, Florida. That's just north of Miami Beach. That's the scene right now. A huge pile of debris down one side of that building. At least one person has been pulled from that rubble, with dozens of emergency crews there now launching a frantic search for other survivors. A chaotic scene that started unfolding in the early morning hours today.
Frankly, the potential for a devastating loss of human life is undeniable and elevated. What you're looking at over my shoulder right now is the condominium building where there are clearly active search and rescue efforts going on right now. Savannah, I would point your attention to that fire ladder. There are technical rescue teams right now going balcony to balcony, trying to find out, presumably, if there's anyone inside there.
Tonight, authorities are investigating this terrifying scene, a pedestrian bridge collapsing onto one of the busiest highways in the nation's capital. Officials believe this truck slammed into the bridge, sending it crashing down. Drivers trapped in their cars, buried under the debris along I-295. At least 5 people were rushed to the hospital. Tonight, all expected to survive.
You can see some of the mangled concrete and twisted steel that has collapsed right on top of that truck. All this shutting down 6 lanes of traffic.
Former Philippines President Benigno Aquino has died at the age of 61. Aquino, who was the country's 15th president, was hospitalized near Manila. An anti-corruption crusader, Aquino served as the president from 2010 to 2016. His administration signed a peace deal with a major rebel group in the southern Philippines. However, his rule was marred by several controversies. He was criticized for a botched police operation in 2015 in which 44 commandos were killed. Aquino was also accused of manhandling Typhoon Haiyan rescue efforts in 2013.
For the first time in more than 300 years, art lovers will get to admire a Rembrandt masterpiece with a fresh perspective. As the Nightwatch, the artist's biggest painting, just got a little bit bigger. The portrait of Amsterdam's civil militia was created in 1642 before parts of the canvas were trimmed off 70 years later.
It was moved to the town hall, and there it had to fit in between two doors. It didn't fit. So the people who moved it decided to cut it, and really took scissors and just cut on all four sides.
Now, thanks to artificial intelligence, scientists have reconstructed the missing frames. As reference, the Rijksmuseum had a small replica painted at the time, before the trimming, but the perspective was distorted and the colors didn't match. That's when scientists began training a computer to recreate the edges pixel by pixel.